So this story is about a person that I went to primary school with. If talking about S depression is not your thing, just scroll on, because it's kind of a graphic story in a way, kind of thing. Because I went to primary school with this person, and we went to different high schools. I went to a Catholic school, and they went to a public school. And he had a friend that was very close to him, kind of thing, and he pretty much S depressioned himself, you know, at a beach or something like that, and they didn't know if it was a accident or intentional kind of thing because of the way he was found. So there was a lot of sadness in my high school situation, but when I found out that he had passed, kind of thing. And he wasn't a very popular kid or anything like that. He was a bit of a nerd kind of thing, and I just remember seeing his friend always walking across from me as the years went past, type of thing. Like, I'd walk halfway to the shops and stuff like that, and he'd walk the other way all the time. And I just remember just seeing his friend and just thinking to myself, that he was in a sad ordeal of, feeling the guilt and the shame of his friend missing in his life, kind of thing. And so when I did the fashion design course, I kind of said to myself, if I make enough money out of this clothing idea, I would create a bench at a train station and at the beach, kind of thing, or in the city and stuff like that, like all over Sydney and New South Wales and Queensland. And that's called a mental health defibrillator. Like, you sit on this bench and it electroshock therapizes you. Not that it zaps you, that it hurts you, but it kind of like, it's a reassuring bench that there's a button that you press and someone's going to physically show up to see you, kind of thing, in a way. Like, it's just a prototype idea, but I just thought to myself, for all the statistics of mental health and S depression, it's kind of like, I don't know, a step in the right direction when it comes to horrific tragedies, kind of thing. So yeah. And when it comes to addiction, I kind of discovered that, because they say that cheese is 1,000 times worse for your health than cigarette smoke at the moment. The World Health Organization is approving that cheese is 1,000 times worse for your health than cigarette smoke. They haven't confirmed it yet, but T. Colin Campbell pretty much said that, with COVID, if you're vegan, it turns he did the China study research grant in China for 20 years about the influence of animal-rich diet influence into the Asian population, kind of thing, and the chronic health that they're experiencing at the moment in the high rates of statistics. So he pretty much said in one of his interviews that if you were vegan and you got COVID, it would turn COVID asymptomatic in your system, that it wouldn't be an airborne disease, kind of thing. And they're kind of getting the World Health Organization involved to get countries in trouble for not having a plant-based diet approach to health and nutrition, kind of thing. And then there's a whole thing around the cheese thing, because the chemical formula for heroin comes from cheese, and that's why they approve cheese to be 1,000 times worse for your health than cigarette smoke, in a way. And that's the reason why people who are on addiction diets, sobriety trying to be clean and sober, they can't stay sober because when you eat animal-based products, it's like taking heroin for your brain chemistry, and it affects people's recovery journey, and the high levels of metals kind of create a chemistry imbalance that you've got heavy metal poisoning that gives you Alzheimer's disease and dementia, and conditions like mine, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, other brain disorders like autism, so it's all food related diseases kind of thing. And I've known about this information for a long time, and I've just sat with it and just churned it around in my head for years, and I don't know what to do about it other than to share my knowledge of what I know out there in the hopes to help other people stay more self-aware, or I don't know. Maybe you don't think you believe me because I'm a fat person saying this stuff. I don't really know. I'm not some gym fit person, but this is a fat person's diet, and we very much need it so that we don't get 2/3 of our stomachs removed for our future. And it's increasing at a rate quicker than ever before, that they're going to start doing weight loss surgery on children, So it's very much a major concern for Australia's health and the future of our health, because America completely fucked us over with the Atkins diet, culture of eating animal-based products of high protein and low carbohydrates. Now they've changed the American food guidelines, and they're not quite accurate at all. So they're having like a major fight in America over the new food guidelines at the moment, because they're not vegan at all, plant-based vegan. So this is all the information I know. The reason why you're so, heavily addicted to, illicit drugs and mental health, is because, you can't be clean when you're not eating a clean diet, kind of thing, and then there was also the thing around phytochemical responses. Like, there's a whole section in the How Not to Die book by Dr. Michael Greger that goes into S depression and, mental health disease of brain parasites, and, not having enough nutrition in your brain chemistry when you eat animal-based products to clear up your, brain chemistry of its functionality, kind of thing. Like, you're not fueling your brain with enough fuel. Like, your brain is kind of burning on the wrong petrol kind of oil, lubricant type of thing. So yeah, now that I'm incorporating more of a lubricating component for mine, my mental clarity is very much, elated itself kind of thing. And it's kind of like, that's one of the reasons why S depression is so high in men kind of thing, because you guys eat a lot of steak in your culture of being hunters and gatherers kind of mentality. It's all been brainwashed information, because anthropologically we, predominantly are agriculturalists, that we only eat predominantly plant-based foods, keeping rich foods to a minimum. That's what plant-based eaters eat. Yeah, so I'm not saying that keto doesn't work, it does, but it very much affects the kidneys in a negative way in the short term, and the long term is plant-based. So yeah, that's about it really.